All right, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of Bears Film Room. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for SM, joined by a good friend, co-host, Chicago Bears writer for SM as well, Ficky. And we have a lot to get to. We have Chicago Bears training camp, of course. A lot of fights today. It was feisty. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people comparing it to the Lovie Smith era. We'll get to that later. We have the first depth chart that was revealed. We're going to go through it, break it down, which will be a lot of fun. Sorry, a little music started playing. I'm not sure how. It's wise now. But it's going to be a really fun show. We have the Bears blog, Jeff Hughes. He's going to be joining the show here just momentarily to kind of give us kind of the inside scoop on what's happening in Halas Hall right now. I know there's a lot of fluff, a lot of headlines in regards to Caleb Williams. And unfortunately, we are going to talk about that very, very quickly. But this is going to be about Bears football. We're excited. We have a preseason game to preview later in the week, and then of course Sunday is a game against the Dolphins, which I don't know if Caleb's going to play. Ben Johnson said it's to be determined. We'll see how much or if he does, and if so, how much. Again, this show is presented by Sports Mockery under that umbrella. We appreciate their support. Before we hop in though, Ficky, and talk all things Bears, how you feeling, man, on this Tuesday?
Feeling good, man. I it's funny because you texted the group chat. It's like, oh shit, we got a game to talk about this week. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. So like, I'm super hyped up because it kind of snuck up on us. Right. And we actually, now again, it's preseason, so it's not going to be as exciting as the regular season, but there are some fun names that we're going to be able to watch. Right. And I will say this, having Tyson Bagent as your QB2, that's not like the worst thing to watch during preseason. So I still feel like there's going to be some fun stuff out there. And I think there's also going to be some rookies that will be playing. So I'm excited.
I'm glad you kind of brought up Tyson Bagent, because there was a great clip today that Ben Johnson kind of shared on his development, where he's at and how he views him right now throughout 10 practices now of training camp. So I'm excited. I would like to watch Bagent over Case Keenum, just because he's a proven veteran. He may be able to just dice him up, and I hope Bagent is able to as well, because this is his third year in the league now. Mm-hmm. So he's getting up there, and I think we'll see what he's got, because he'll definitely be playing. But without further ado, before we kind of hop into the depth chart and everything, we're going to go ahead and bring in Jeff, kind of talk about what's happening, what he's hearing inside Halas Hall. He was going to join us last week, but right now he promised to have some good stuff for us. So, Jeff, how you doing, man?
I like that the way it's framed is before you get serious and talk about actual shit.
Depth chart.
You're going to bring me in to talk about it.
Yeah. No.
I think that's the right approach, because let me tell you something. There's nothing I care less about than the depth chart that gets released on whatever today's date is, the 6th or the 4th of August. I was just listening to what you guys were saying, and on that regard, it strikes me that Ben Johnson seems to have been genuinely surprised by Tyson Bagent. I mean, that's what I'm getting from these press conferences. He seems to have not known what that player was. I think that's why they went out and got Case Keenum. I think you have to think now that I don't know if Keenum's a long shot to make the roster, but at this point, Ben Johnson certainly is happy with his backup quarterback situation. And if you're looking for where a Bagent can fit a Ben Johnson offense, you don't have to go much further than look at what he did and how he ran Goff in Detroit. You could see parallels. It's not the same arm strength by any means. He's not the same talent. But for a backup quarterback to be able to step in and run the offense, not a version of the offense they have to cater to him, but run the actual offense, is a real asset these days. Because I think we're all pretty certain that Caleb's probably not going to play every game. So I would say that Ben's excitement about Tyson is one of the cooler things I've seen this summer.
Vic, you have something? Look like you had something you want to say there.
Definitely. I was cooking something up. I was going to say, people forget about the quarterback 2 position until you need it, right? I think it's like the most slept on thing. Obviously, it's never great if you're quarterback 2, your backup is in. But you saw it with like San Fran, right? What was that, 3 years ago, when they were in the playoffs? They had to go through all 4. Obviously, that's a very outlier situation, but it's important where you have a mastermind, like how it was with Shanahan, right? Shanahan does it with running backs. Running back goes down, finds a new one, hops right in, can fit the offense. I feel like Ben Johnson has that same philosophy where someone like a Tyson Bagent, who is serviceable enough that he could put him in there and, make it work to a point where it's not like it has to all fall on Tyson Bagent. While that, like last year, that was obviously the case.
And I get the sense, and again, this is reading into it a little bit, but I did a little audio thing today because I was just thinking about this in a car ride this morning. I think Ben Johnson is trying to take the focus away from Caleb. I mean, what he's trying to do is say, I'm running a program here, and I don't need this. We have been with this franchise, to put it mildly, obsessed with one position for 30 years, right? Every summer has been about one position. Go back to Jim Miller and Shane Matthews. Go back to Kyle Orton and Rex Grossman. Go back to Cordell Stewart. Go back to every summer. It's been about the quarterback. Yeah. This summer, while the local media is still doing the quarterback thing because they haven't quite caught on yet, this summer has been about the head coach. Mm-hmm. And it's been about a complete tone change within the organization. I think him coming out and praising a backup quarterback and telling us, hey, Caleb's coming along, is his way of saying, I've got this, right? I've got this program now. I've got this thing under control. If I have to go to my backup quarterback for whatever reason, I'm comfortable with this guy. And we certainly haven't seen that on the offensive side of the ball. I'm 43 in my lifetime. So there is a mood change for me, even thinking about, you guys are talking about the preseason game on Sunday night. I don't think there's going to be a lot of debate in terms of what Ben does. There's trust now that this guy, he's got them out there beating the shit out of each other for 3 hours on the practice field. I don't think he's going to let another team beat the shit out of him, but he's happy with them beating the shit out of each other. So I don't think this is going to be an injury thing that causes him not to play people. I think it's more of a, listen, what does he need to see from certain players? I don't see Ben putting guys out there on an island. So if he plays the whole offensive line, then he plays the quarterback. But I don't think Ben's going to be picking and choosing individual guys to play reps in the first preseason game.
Interesting.
And also we're seeing around the league, nobody's playing these first preseason games. No, I mean, even teams where you might expect, O'Connell today was non-committal to playing McCarthy.
Hasn't even played.
Yeah. And he's never played a snap. So I think there's so much risk in a game like that. Now you're going to use one of these preseason games as something of a tune-up. There's just so much risk in these games. McCarthy goes down. It's horrible for the Vikings, even if you don't believe him. So this summer has been very much so far about the head coach, and I can't remember one quite like it.
I'm very interested with Miami coming to town on Friday, right? Is it Friday?
Yeah.
The joint practice. I think that's going to be, if they're able to actually go, because Ben Johnson mentioned he's going to speak with McDaniel to see kind of, I guess, what it's going to actually look like as far as, I guess, intensity. But I bet if they actually go maybe 80% what they did, I guess, supposedly today, I think nobody's playing on Sunday. But I want to.
Well, Dave, let me add something to that. What you're saying now, why they're doing less of the preseason games, is because they're basically making their own preseason games with these joint practices. They're way more controlled. They can control the environments. They can literally say, hey, we're going to work on red zone from the not red zone, technically you're outside, but we can work on close to the red zone on the 35-yard line, and we're going to start with it being 2nd and 8, right? Yeah. You can't do that in a preseason game because you don't know how the plays are going to end up. You may never be in that position where you're on the 35-yard line in a 2nd and 8. So I think because of that, they can really dial in. They can take the game-like atmosphere in a way, but then also make it very, very, very situational, which is like a practice, which I think that's why they enjoy it more, because you have more control over it, and therefore the tape, you can assess it better, in my opinion. So
And there's no team in this league as brittle as the Miami Dolphins. So that's another thing to think about for a preseason game. Their quarterback, their wide receiver, their running back are brittle guys. Waddle plays half of every game, it seems. It's like he's in there, he's out. Tua is, I guess, one more concussion away from who knows what. Achane is kind of a similar thing. I don't think McDaniel's going to play any of those guys in any preseason games this year. So I think that these two organizations will see these practices as far more an opportunity than going into a live game scenario on, again, when is that game? Sunday night?
Sunday. I think,
12, actually. That's where I was like, oh,
noon. Great.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I was like, man.
Oh,
I was hoping to be like a.
So maybe I'll actually watch it.
Also, you know what I was thinking about with the Tua, though, with the Dolphins and all these guys in a regular game, even preseason, a lot of them probably won't wear the Guardian caps, but they'll wear them during practice. So these joint practices also protect, like it gives them extra layers.
Well, yeah, and no one's going to touch Tua during.
True. Exactly. So I think it gives you it gives you another safety net of health, health, because people are. They still can go hard, but they have more factors.
To Jeff's point too, if you're not playing the full offensive line with Caleb, that I don't think that's going to happen. But that would be ridiculous. It'd be crazy because you never know what could happen preseason. Those guys can get hit, of course. Same thing with Tua. But I want to ask you this, Jeff, because it's been kind of crazy the last week in regards to Caleb Williams. You know, the net video. I'm not sure if you saw it. Kind of went crazy. I think the Bears reporter had to delete it. Because I think it was per the Bears because it was getting so much traction. But there's a lot of talk about Ben Johnson and how he views Caleb right now. What are you hearing? What are you seeing about that relationship? And do they have full confidence in Caleb? Is there any doubts? Do you have anything in regards to those guys that may put people at ease?
So the founder of the feast here at Sports Mockery, Mr. Chris himself, actually reached out to me a few days. I was on a little vacation, and he reached out to me. He's like, "There's all these rumors. Okay, here's what happened to Ben Johnson that caught him off guard." And I had two people in the organization laughingly tell me this. He just did not see the scrutiny of every single practice rep being a thing. That's not happening in Detroit, right? That's not happening in most cities around this country. There's not panic. Every time I live in New York, man, and there's two teams here, and you don't hear anything in this city on sports. Now they got baseball teams and all this. You don't hear anything on sports radio, in the press, about anything happening in Giants or Jets training camp, right? A couple of things here. Justin Fields' injury was kind of a story for an hour and a half. What's happening in Chicago now is every single video and every play is getting scrutinized like it's an actual game. I think that caught Ben Johnson off guard. When you go into a camp to learn a new offense, especially a complicated one, we don't know what he wanted to install in those early days. So he might have piled a ton onto Caleb's plate and said, "Hey, let him fail. Like, let's see what this kid can handle in a huge wash." And in the early days, I was hearing nothing negative, but I was reading negative things, mostly on socials. Every day I've become more aware about how the detachment from reality that is happening on these social media platforms. But then I reached out to one person who basically told me it's going great, that they are absolutely loving the process. They had a process in place. They are sticking to that process. And Caleb is getting better and better. The one thing that is happening is the defense is playing really well. And that's a good thing, right? I mean, so you get all overwhelmed again with all the quarterback. If Montez Sweat's going to have a season and play the way he's played so far in camp, the Bears are going to be very good. Because I was told by somebody else that Sweat's been the best player in this camp so far. Now, they're not going to leave him out there. He is so important to this team that he returned to what he was 2 years ago. But Sweat has been dominant. Now, that also is, people are asking, is Darnell Wright struggling? If Montez Sweat's playing great, every right tackle in the league is going to struggle against him. So what I've been told is that Ben loves working with Caleb. He loves working with Tyson. He loves that quarterback room. But we have to all take a step back and realize, man, we're still another month away. So start keeping score. And there's a lot of information coming at Caleb, and he's under center now. And it's a big transition. And he just spent a year in arguably the most remedial offense that's ever been run in the NFL. So this is a huge culture shock to him. And I think from what we're hearing about Ben is thrilled. Ben's excited about what's to come. but Ben is not coming in with expectations that on day 1 in September, Caleb's going to light up the scoreboard, right? And I have not heard that from anybody. But the other element of this, I just think people are missing is, you don't get any sense of what a run game is in the summer, right? They're not tackling each other most of the time. We don't know how the offensive line will look as a run game. And Ben wants to run the ball a ton. Look at his track record. He wants the ball on the ground. He's got a couple of backs here that he likes. So to see the whole picture come together, we're still a month away from that. But any negativity you're hearing about Caleb Williams is just residual negativity about the position in a city that lives with a sense of panic at all times.
Especially at that position.
Yeah,
for sure.
Throws for 4,000 yards, this arbitrary number that everyone has decided is the holy grail. Until the position does that and establishes as one of those 10 or 12 best guys in the league, the panic will always be there. The cynicism will always be there. But right now, from what's actually taking place in Lake Forest, there's no reason for it.
And it makes me, it's crazy that this is actually a thing, because Kevin Byard, 2 days ago was asked about Caleb. And he was like, honestly, that he might be the most talented quarterback I've played with. And I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of the quarterbacks, but I think Ryan Tannehill was one.
Yeah, that's probably his best.
He threw for over 4,000. Anyways, it's just the players are saying something along those lines. And Kevin, that quote kind of stuck out to me. I had another question about, because you mentioned the backs. Roschon Johnson, he had a big day today. Obviously, the pads, they were hitting a little harder. How does he view both Roschon and DeAndre Swift, especially with the dynamic of Swift being in Detroit? Obviously, shipped him out. I don't think it was, any animosity there, but it was just a decision they made. But any thoughts on the running back room? Is it better than he thought, than they think or thought, or is it kind of right where they're thinking in regards to that position?
I've been saying it since the spring. They never viewed the running back room the way everyone else did. They never viewed it as this room that needed a wholesale replacement. They had opportunities in Detroit to severely upgrade that room. They didn't necessarily have those opportunities here, or they didn't deem the draft as a place where they had to go after that position. They want Roschon to be their David Montgomery around the goal line, right? That's what they want him to be. He was doing that today. I'm concerned about that idea because Roschon's also brittle, and to ask a guy who gets hurt a lot to take the most physical contact that's taken on a football field, goal line carries, to me is tricky. I think they're going to use DeAndre Swift a lot. I've been saying this now for a couple months to people. I think DeAndre Swift is a better player than a lot of people do. Other people do. His last year in Philadelphia, man, that season would have looked so much different if Jalen Hurts doesn't steal 15 rushing touchdowns every season around the goal line. I don't think they have a star in that backfield, but they've got enough players where if the offensive line plays the way we think they can, they're going to be a productive backfield. And Swift just gives them enough. For as interesting as the Bears fans can be, interesting was a word I chose specifically. DeAndre Swift was used so incorrectly last year. I went into last season thinking 60, 70 catches. Like, I went into the season thinking, throw this guy the ball as often as you can. And when they seemed to do it, it was productive, but it was never a focal point of this offense. It's going to be with Ben Johnson. He's going to use all of these weapons. And I think right now they're happy with what they're seeing from the rookie. They're happy with what they're seeing from the guys. Next year, you could guarantee, you could write it down now, there will be a new addition to that backfield. They will look to add somebody at a higher level than these guys. But right now they see these guys and say, we can be productive with what we have, especially considering we're deep on the outside. We've got quarterbacks we like. We've got an offensive line we like. They should be very productive with this backfield. They're not stars, but you don't need stars in the backfield.
It's funny you said you don't think DeAndre Swift was used correctly last year, and I would almost bounce back and say who was used correctly to last year, right? It was that bad. We were talking about it. Everyone's excited for Caleb's second year. Everyone's excited for Rome's second year. Excited for these young guys to really make that step up. But the most exciting move of this offseason, which you kind of started off with, is Ben Johnson. Yeah. Just the addition of Ben Johnson alone and who he brought in lifts the floor of all these players. If they did the exact same thing that they did last year, but you took out Flus and you added in Ben Johnson, they would perform just from that alone better. So I think you made a great point about like just him being the CEO of the team, and you're seeing it in effect with like practices like today and just the overall vibe of how training camp's been. I don't know how you're not just jumping through the roof for this guy. Obviously, it's got to play on Sunday.
I had a minor football nerd moment when I was watching one of these practice clips, and I saw DJ Moore run a shallow cross, and he was wide open, and I saw this really easy completion for Caleb. And my first thought was, I don't think I've seen the Bears run an effective shallow cross in 15 years. And the whole league is doing it, and guys are wide open in every other offense, and it's just never – so often last year with Caleb, there was so few easy throws. There were so few times where a guy was just standing there. Here's the completion, and the guy turns around with some open space. And I think that's what Ben Johnson does. That's how he schemes. I mean, talk about last year. How many times did we see Cole Kmet have 2 or 3 catches in a row where we said, my God, he's throwing the football, and he would disappear for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters. I think Ben Johnson's got a lot of weapons here. You know, somebody asked me about Odunze. I think it was a fantasy football question. And they said, what does he do? And I said, I got to be honest, I don't know. Because I mean, even if he was productive last year, I don't know what he does well at the pro level because everything seemed so arbitrary last year. It seemed a random play here, a random play there. I don't know what any of
screens, mostly screens.
I think we're going to know very early in this season by like mid-October exactly how Ben sees all these players working as a unit. And I know he's excited about Rome. I had somebody in the organization tell me that Rome will be the number 1 receiver on this team this year. If you're debating between him and DJ is going to be used a lot and in a lot of in varying ways. But I have several people tell me they think that the star on offense coming out of this camp is Rome, and they think Rome will be the top receiver on this team this year.
I don't think any Bears fan would be disappointed to hear that.
I want to go ahead and share the clip. Actually, the Bears just released it, and it was talked about earlier. It was a touchdown pass. I think a 44-yarder is what I think it came out to be. Because you're talking about Rome Odunze, and I actually wanted to talk about the rookies, both Loveland and Luther Burton. But I'm going to show this clip here. Caleb to Rome, deep ball for a touchdown. And obviously, you can't. It's not the greatest angle, but you heard about it earlier today, and then of course Rome celebrating. I think it's going to be. I think he's going to have an insane year. But there's been a lot of talk about Loveland and even Luther Burton, Jeff. And I know they're rookies, but what have you heard as far as the impact? Because it does feel very real. I mean, every single person, every reporter is talking about them typically at least 1 or 2 times during camp. Or during each practice. Have you heard anything, especially maybe Luther Burton? Because I think last time we had you on, we were a little nervous about his injury. Of course, he came back. He's fine. He looks great. What have you heard on the rookie class, including even Ozzie Trapillo on the offensive line?
I think Trapillo will end up starting. And I think that's not
week 1.
I think Trapillo will end up starting. I think Braxton will be your swing tackle. And Ryan, I've heard Bates is healthy, which will be great. Bates is a really good player. He's been snake bit since he got here. Having Bates running all 3 of those positions in the middle is a great backup as well. I have friends in other organizations, and I was texting my friends in another organization, and 2 of them brought up Luther Burton to me. I think Luther Burton was very well argued in a lot of personnel rooms going into this draft. And as soon as he was taken by the Bears and Ben Johnson, a lot of rooms went, ooh, that's kind of sucks for us. Like, if he makes this work, that's a really good match. One of the things I watch in these camp practices is when a guy sort of emerges. I think that was like last Thursday that Burton had a big practice. Mm-hmm. I always go, well, what's going to happen next? And you know what's happened next with Luther Burton? Nothing. We haven't heard a word about him. Because you know why? Because the coaches go, we're not showing you people anything else. Right? What happens is they kind of blow up a little bit. And then the coaching staff says, we got a bunch of fans here, and we don't know how many of them are actually Green Bay Packers scouts. We got a bunch of media here reporting every snap. We got social media now where this thing goes. Let's not show anybody else anything else of these guys. So you get Loveland hot for a practice. You get Burton hot for a practice. You see what they can do. Then you dial that stuff back. But I'll tell you, and again, I said some of this stuff last year because I thought they had weapons. I don't remember a Bears team with 2 tight ends and 3 or 4 receivers that can all beat you. And now with an offensive line that can protect, Loveland and Burton should have a ton of opportunity in this offense. As if the defenses are gonna focus in on DJ and on Rome, the middle of the field is where Loveland and Burton should be able to do a ton of damage week to week. And I think both will be productive as rookies. I don't think Ben's going to hold either one of them back. I think Burton's going to force his way into a regular role. I'm still interested to see how he's going to line Loveland up. I would be very surprised if Loveland's got his hand in the dirt ever for this offense. I don't think he's built that way. And with Komet, he doesn't have to be. So I think they're going to have 2 very productive rookie pass catchers. It's, again, I'm a cynical person. I'm not getting excited yet. But I'll be honest, this camp has felt different to me than almost everyone else because there seems to be such confidence about how Ben is using and getting these guys better almost every day. You know, one of my friends close to George McCaskey's, and George has shut up on a lot of stuff. George used to get very excited. Now he doesn't anymore. But supposedly the sideline is excited by what they are seeing. Ownership is excited by what they are seeing. They finally think they've got the program correct, right? They finally think they've got the GM and the coach, and they're both young, and they can be here a while, and they've got the quarterback. The organization thinks they've got the whole thing structurally correct. Now, they might have thought that before. They certainly thought Nagy and Pace were going to be close. But this coach feels different to me, and I think the fact that we're heading into a season expecting the offense to be something for the first time in a while is very interesting as somebody who's written about this team now for 20 years. I think the rookies are going to be good. And I think they drafted really well this year. I still think this roster has flaws. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. But I think they have a chance to be really entertaining. And I've been barking about that for a long time. I'm tired of being fucking bored.
Yes.
Like
13-10. Come on, let's get some scoring.
Go get me 138. I don't even mind. Like go out there and run drives and score points. And if you let up points, fine. Like they become such a dull experience on Sundays. And I think if no other thing happens this year, I can't imagine this team won't be fun to watch.
That's good, Jeff.
I do want to
before you. I want to bring up. We're already in sync.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ian,
yeah, go ahead.
I want to bring up that super from Ian Fitzpatrick here. Loving the content today, boys. New gig at the local Fox station has me super excited for the games ahead. Well, first of all, congratulations, Ian, on that. That's absolutely awesome. And thank you again for the $20. Jeff,
we got one
do you
more.
Have something there?
We got one more, actually. We got our man Tito here with a $10 super chat as well. He said, you 100% need to play the starters. All I keep hearing is camp is false starts. There have been plenty of those. Lyman blocking the wrong way. I think Ben Johnson talked about that today. And delay a game because Caleb is changing the plays. They need to get live game reps to fix this. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. So I feel you on that. It's just what we talked about is the injury risk. And I think that's why these coaches have been pulling away from it. Because, I mean, look, we have a prime example of what happened last year with the team we're playing week 1. J.J. McCarthy did play in the first preseason game, which he should have, but he got injured. First game, first quarter? Boom, out the whole year. Coaches see that, and they automatically get petrified and say, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. How about we keep you in a contained situation where you can't even get touched, right? Or you get tapped on the helmet. That's it. So I agree that it probably won't happen. Selfishly, I would love to watch him play, but I think it's better in the long haul.
I mean, they're going to play. I would imagine the second and third games, they're going to be out there.
I agree, Jeff.
I don't see a scenario where Ben's not going to
at least a drive. Yeah.
I mean, and maybe even a half of one of these games. But again, you're asking guys to put on the pads and play a competitive football game with 2 weeks of practice under the belt. I mean, they haven't been out there that long. So there's a reason that the whole league is deciding seemingly at once, unanimously, to not play guys in these first games. the league, the whole structure of an NFL season has changed. The first month of the season, and maybe you could argue the first 2 months, it's just about, can you pull wins out? Those are essentially practice games now. I mean, you don't need to be in any kind of a form as a team or look like a championship contender till Thanksgiving. So the season now is stay healthy going into the season, and then when you're playing those first 6 to 8 games, win as many of them as you can. How you look, how you play is really unimportant. You just got to keep getting better so that when you hit that stretch at Thanksgiving, are you playing well and are you healthy? And the Eagles were playing great, and they were healthy last year. And you saw what happened to Detroit, playing great, but they were down to their 34th defensive player. I mean, it's crazy. This idea that Detroit somehow had a disappointing season. I mean, what was Aaron Glenn supposed to do at a certain point? He had nobody on that side of the ball left. That's what this league is now. It's a war of attrition. Can you keep your guys out there? And no coach in this league is going to prioritize a couple of false starts over a potentially injured left guard. Like, it's the value proposition is not there. They're not going to risk a starter to clean up some false starts. They know they can get that cleaned up in the next month. They're not that worried about it.
It's good stuff. Real quick, Vic, there was a comment here. Micah Parsons. Jeff, is that crazy? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Micah Parsons is going to stay in Dallas. I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing. Listen, some owners. I'll try to be benevolent here in a way. When you get older, right, and you guys are younger than me, but so as I've gotten older, the climb to senility sometimes feels like it's moving quicker than you want it to. For Jerry Jones, since Micah Parsons has asked for this trade, to not have even spoken to him yet is ludicrous to me. But what I think will ultimately happen is what always happens here. The agents and the owners get into the room, the organizations get into the room, and they get a deal done. To trade Micah Parsons, the Dallas Cowboys are not a team in a rebuilding posture. They are paying a lot of high-profile guys a lot of money. If they were to trade Micah Parsons, that is quitting on a season they can't quit on. So it made way more sense for a Myles Garrett to be traded out of a Cleveland situation than it does for Micah Parsons. So I think this will get resolved. If it does not get resolved and he becomes available, I would not criticize any team in the league for making the deal for him. He is that kind of a game changer. He's a game wrecker. He is a guy you say, go stand wherever you want and hit that quarterback, and he's going to hit him
do it.
The game. And
he's younger than Mac. I think the command would be the price would be around the same.
2 first.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First at least,
Would you be willing to pay what we did for Khalil Mack and maybe a little bit more if you were the Bears here for Micah? Or do you think they would rather? Well, actually, I just want to know what you think. What would you do? Would you prefer that?
I wouldn't do it if I'm the Bears right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't criticize the Bears for doing it, but I wouldn't do it if I'm the Bears right now. You've just established a new program with a young quarterback. If you go make that deal, that's a deal I think you make if you're the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're that position away from titles. That's a deal you make if you're Dan Quinn right now in Washington and you feel like you've already taken that step. Now you need to take one more step. If the Bears were a year ahead of where they are now, I'd say yes. I don't think the Bears should be giving up multiple first-round picks for anybody right now.
I agree.
In this season, see where your needs are. We already know they're going to need another pass rusher next offseason. We've also seen that Ryan Poles is not shy about pulling triggers on trades. You know, they start the season 5-0. Don't be surprised if he's looking to add a pass rusher in October. So, but yeah. I would not be making some blockbuster trade right now if I'm the Bears. I like where this program is in its infancy. I would let it develop. Don't start adding pressure to it. You don't need to do that right now if you're the Bears. And I don't think that they would. I think they would be outbid. But I think
easily.
There are just contenders out there. Again, Buffalo is the number one for me. That would say we add Mike Parsons to the Buffalo Bills. I think I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't know if they would pay him because they don't like to do
They
that.
can't even pay their own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's
So.
there are these teams in the AFC especially where I look at and say, man, you add Micah Parsons to that roster and that's a title contender, like immediately. So I don't think the Bears should do it, but I wouldn't criticize anybody for doing it. I think he's one of the best players in the league, and if those guys become available at that position, you have to do your due diligence to see if you can get them.
Also, I don't want to be the bad news bears here, pun intended, but Jerry Jones has done this little circus act about 3 times now. He did it with CD and his deal, waited forever. Let's say obviously hit the news like CD's going to go somewhere. Last second comes in here, has to pay more. So I don't know why he does this. It just hurts his
He overpays every time.
He does. He did this for Dak as well. Same thing for Dak. And if you go all the way back to when Zeke was getting his second deal, he did the same thing for Zeke. So literally every big time player at that time on the Cowboys, he's done this game. And they all ended up getting signed. None of them ended up getting traded, and he pays way more. I don't know. Maybe he is getting senile and old, but he ends up costing himself, which makes no sense. So interesting concept here.
It's the question that I've never understood about Jerry Jones, which is that they always overpay. They tend to pay players that don't particularly have near the value that they're paying. This is a guy with that value. And I don't understand why this deal wasn't already done. I mean, the fact that he's gotten to a point where has to release public statements that say he doesn't want to be a Dallas Cowboy anymore, to me is just like, how do you let things get to this point? It doesn't make any sense. Micah's not gaining from this. You're not gaining. Like, if you've let this guy, who's such an important part of your team, get to a point where he's in the notes section of his phone writing
never a good sign.
Never good when they're in the notes.
Nope.
And when he's in the notes writing diatribes against you, I mean, your fan base is 100% against you, Jerry. Like, there's not one Dallas Cowboy fan who doesn't want them to keep Micah Parsons, and yet we're here again. But I just can't imagine that team being able to look their fan base in the eyes and say they're a serious contender if they let Micah Parsons walk.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a rebuild for sure.
What do the draft picks do for you? I mean, are you then going to be beholden to Dak moving forward? I don't know. I think it's just another mess. But I would be surprised if Micah leaves.
I think history would show also trading a future Hall of Famer typically never works out for the team trading that person away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how many picks you get back. Typically you hit on maybe one of them, and that one person is not the future Hall of Fame. Like, it's never, so you end up losing on those trades. Like, this is Micah Parsons, a guy who's 26 and already has 53 career sacks. Like, it just doesn't make sense why you wouldn't pay your man, but
it's nonsensical to me. But Jerry Jones just does his own thing.
He sure does.
He doesn't win. And I mean, Jerry Jones has a lot of reputation. He bought that team for cheap. It's turned it into one of the 3 or 4 more lucrative franchises in all world sports, and he should be applauded as a businessman. But as a football man, he's dog shit, man. He always has been. And he should have hired. You know, it's not surprising that the team was playing their best under Bill Parcells when Bill Parcells was making the personnel decisions. I don't get the approach. Does anybody think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl this year? I sure don't. But I know that they have a way better chance of being in the playoffs and contending with Micah Parsons. And if they let Micah Parsons leave, that's their season. So I just don't think they're going to be able to do that in Dallas. Something will get done.
He's not leaving. There's no way.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked. Of course, there is another Dallas team that made a move of a player who we didn't think would get moved. You know, Luka in the NBA. So I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, but NBA at least
different.
Knows how to make a draft. So
yeah, right. True.
Draft. So that whatever deal was struck there with the NBA to move Luka out to LA, they made sure to rig that draft for them so they could
get it back. Yeah, it had to be.
The NBA is not shy about it. That's why I think that league cracks me up more than anything. The NBA, and I try to follow every sport to a degree, but the NBA is the only league where I see like ESPN articles where a guy's going to make $300 million and I've never heard of him.
It's crazy. We were talking about those contracts on one of our episodes like 2 weeks ago, basically because as we know, there was like 30 out of 32 second rounders that hadn't been signed yet because they were all trying to get that guaranteed money. And in the NBA, and MLB, it's guaranteed like fully across the board. So not only is it like $300 million deals, they get all $300 million, right? And so the NFL is not even close to that, and they're not even getting all the money.
Even the Bridges deal for the Knicks this week, when I was just like,
Yes,
Bridges wasn't even that good this year. And I'm like, hundreds of millions of dollars.
that works.
It's just a wild league. But listen, these trades recently just don't seem to happen. Also, all of these guys want to get paid. They have a real terrible union in the NFL. There's no guaranteed contract yet. All this is going to come to a head. All these rookie deals are going to be thrown out and recrafted soon. Now you want the agents with these second round picks this year inserting themselves more into the process, trying to get more out of these deals. People like Micah Parsons just don't get traded very often, especially from a team that views itself as a contender. So again, if he gets traded, if that's going to happen, I see him going to a team like Buffalo, or I could even see a Baltimore throwing themselves in and say, we're going to add that guy and we're going to win it all. For a team like the Bears, who are really in year one of a new program, to start giving up multiple number one picks, to me, would be short-sighted.
I agree.
But I kind of had that same test, or like I basically stated that on Twitter. I was like, this doesn't seem like a great decision, at least right now where everything's at. But everyone was against that. I mean, everybody on at least socials was very, very pro make the trade now, rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. Yeah, I was just like,
I was not remember we already went through this, right? With a similar player.
I said that, but they said this is different. Ben Johnson is different than Nagy. Mitch is a bit different than Caleb. I said, well, I don't think that's been proven yet. And of course, you know how social media is. It's like, then you don't like Caleb, you don't trust Caleb, you don't trust Ben, you don't know ball. So it's very, very simple on socials in regards to that. But I think you're right, Jeff. I wouldn't make the trade either right now. Now, if they did, I did state, if they did, it would be electric. It would, like you said, that pressure would be there. But I mean, it would be very similar to the Khalil Mack being traded a week before Monday Night Football against the Packers and that opening debut. So it would be fun, electric. I mean, for views and everything, it would be so much fun. But I'm with you on that, Jeff.
Jeff, we had a question for you. I saw a couple of them come in here. Here's one. Have you heard anything on Jaylon Johnson so far? Obviously, we know it's an issue with injury with this leg. Question. But is there any other insight here? And thank you, that guy 44 on YouTube. Appreciate it.
The only thing I've heard is that long shot for week one. It is that the injury is more serious than they thought. I don't think he's going to touch the field at all until the earliest, that practice week going into week one. But I would not be surprised. I'm not going to say that I'm hearing this, but they have certainly not ruled out a PUP list, missing the first couple weeks of the season. If he doesn't get on the field at all this summer, that's a likely outcome for him. That's a real problem spot for the Bears. I wrote about that a lot in the spring, how I just didn't see the depth at corner. I thought corner was a real issue for them. Now, Tyreek's actually playing better this summer, which is great. And they've sort of bought back into him after I was in Washington for that game. They bought back into him after that debacle. But I would be very surprised if we see Jaylon Johnson in any real way the first couple weeks of the season. But it's not, supposedly it's not a serious injury, but it's serious enough to be 6 to 8 weeks from where we are now.
That's tough.
I was gonna say, like you said, you want your healthy people on the back half. So if it's like just figure out ways to scrap some wins.
And week one, Jordan Addison is now out. He's suspended the first 3 games. That's a break, especially if you don't have your number one corner. But that's some good stuff, Jeff. Any other questions for him before we let him out of here?
Let me see here. There was a question about this. I didn't know. This just happened today, so you probably wouldn't have information on this. But
was it
any update on Komet from Eric?
There just was an update from
was there?
Hogue. Yeah, it said that I guess they avoided a scare. so it's not as serious as they originally thought. But Jeff, anything on that?
No, I literally just found out about that about an hour ago before I got on, guys. No, I mean I'll probably hear something in the morning, but again, this is sort of what we're talking about, which is for all of the fascination with these practice reps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that matters, guys, is that they get to September with the roster intact.
Yes.
They got to struggle through that first month. Everybody struggles through that first month now, because it's if you're gonna get injured when they're keeping score and you're getting the big paycheck, right? Don't let them get injured in these. I mean, I saw all this, and I don't want to be too old-fashioned here, or even maybe it's even new age, but I saw all these like celebratory texts about how feisty and fiery practice was today, which is great. But when they're beating the shit out of each other, like between reps, you want to be like, they're on the same team. So let's dial that back a little bit and get them ready to play football in September where they can win. Like if all that excitement and all that enthusiasm goes completely out the window, if Cole Kmet has a serious injury coming out of that practice, all this desire to see starters play on Sunday is completely thwarted if one starter tweaks his ankle in one of those reps. And you forgive that in the game action when you're playing another team and they're keeping score. For these glorified exhibition games and folks, I understand reps, and I hear it all the time. The only reason the preseason still exists is to take your money. That is it. The NFL knows full well they are meaningless. Every owner knows they are meaningless. Every coach knows they are meaningless. The only reason they still exist is to get your parking money and to get your concessions money and to get you in that building, and they know you will pay. When you're obsessed with practice videos, you're going to come to preseason games. They would get rid of these tomorrow. And by the way, the next players union, the next collective bargaining, they will go out of their way to try to get rid of these games.
Yeah, 2031. We got a minute for that, but yeah.
I've heard from players all the time how much they hate. They love the joint practices, and they get more out of them.
Yeah.
And the idea that the back end of your roster gets fortified in preseason games, fucking horseshit, guys. It just doesn't happen.
They're gonna just move when you pay to later because they're gonna extend the regular season. So it's like
they're not
by preseason, but we'll take your money later on in week 18 and then 19. So
the NFL, for as insidious as an organization as it can be, it does not lose money.
No, it does not.
New ways. When they start playing these games in Germany, there'll be a German TV package. When they start playing these games in Australia and the games are on at 1 o'clock in the morning here, there'll be an Australian TV package, and they're going to get $1 billion for every package, and they're going to keep printing money. And they're not going to, if they lose the revenue from those preseason, they're going to find it someplace else. So, but the preseason, the only thing that matters is make progress as an organization in the summer, start showing development, take on that playbook, but stay healthy. Staying healthy is absolutely everything. And hopefully the Bears can do that here over the next month and be ready for Minnesota.
It's good stuff. Anything else, Fick, for Jeff here?
Nah, just thank you for all the knowledge as always. It's always good to get other
it's always fun.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Jeff.
Well, let's do it again before the season starts. Hopefully we're healthy going into the season. And I'll try to improve my lighting. I know I've got some weirdo lighting.
I like it, man. The vibes here.
We have an inside joke that some people.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of using my reading light, and I'm just in the living room. And I've got 30 Rock paused on my freaking Peacock app here. So.
No, we love it. We love it.
Love chat.
Adds a little aura to the show. So we'll take
it. Mood lighting.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Hey, Jeff, thank you, man. You have a great week. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. See you. Awesome. Well, again, thank you to Jeff. Again, who is a part of Sports Mockery now. Again, this show is presented by Sports Mockery. It's the Chicago Bears podcast under them. And Jeff is always great with his insight. We'll have him on, like you said, before the season starts, probably after the final preseason game. That's probably what we'll do as far as getting that kind of scheduled. So hope you enjoyed that conversation with him. Before we hop into this depth chart, we're going to do a real quick one. There's not too many changes. I have a couple takeaways. And of course, camp was great. We talked about that briefly with Jeff. But before we get into it, let's take a little bit of a break here. Fick, I'm going to hand it over to you. Again, hit that like button if you can. I know there's a lot of people in this chat. we'd appreciate it. So, Vic.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yes, if this is your first time, first off, thank you for watching the BFR show. We are the #1 show for the fans, by the fans, because Dave and I are fans just like y'all, and we really do appreciate y'all being here, especially on this, Tuesday night as we ramp up for the first week of preseason. So shout to y'all. If this is your first time, please leave a hashtag #NewFaceGang in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out before the end of the show. And if this is not your first time and you've watched us for multiple times, or this is your second time, please leave a hashtag OG in the chat, because you are a true OG, and we appreciate you being here and help growing the #1 show for the fans, by the fans. I'm gonna be quick. If today we have two things to share. If you want to join our Patreon, join our ongoing community, you can do so on the BFR Den on Patreon, where we have monthly giveaways, exclusives, like monthly giveaways, private Zoom calls, mailbag episodes, and much, much more. And if you hop in right now with our Hall of Fame tier, $10 a month, you'll be able to get the private Zoom call, which is going to be with Dave, Jack, and I this weekend. We have one this weekend. We also have one later in the week as well. So, I mean, not later in the week, later in the month. So you can still sneak in, get in there right now, and you'll get that private Zoom call. Not only that, if you join the Hall of Fame tier, you get a shout out for every show. So shout out to Michael, Gage, Phillip, Michael Berry. I saw you in the chat. Thomas was in the chat. Shout out to you. And then Tito gave the super chat. Appreciate the love and support. And then also, if you join through our rookie tier, $3 tier, you get a shout out as well. So shout out to Alex, Chris, Jason, and Caleb. Now with the rookie tier, you get all of the features, all of the monthly giveaways, Discord, all that stuff. You just don't get the private Zoom call like the Hall of Fame members, but it's still a great community. If you want to join in there, you can. You can join for free as well. We drop our episodes and we drop our calendar on there, so you can kind of see what we have going on in there as well. And then to end it quickly, if you want to look fly this summer, please go to the BFRstore.com. We have new hats, shirts, we got mugs, we got hoodies, everything in between, a whole bunch of merch in there. If you want to look fly, really do appreciate it. Also, if you want to win some of that free merch, join the Patreon, because like we said, we give away a bunch of monthly giveaways. So the last thing here, please like and subscribe. Leave your hashtag if you're an OG or new face gang in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out before the end of the show. And we really appreciate y'all watching the #1 show for the fans, by the fans, the BFR podcast. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good stuff. We appreciate the support on the road to 10,000 subs. I mean, we are really getting close, so we appreciate it. If you can subscribe, help support the channel. Again, you can check out all my work, all my writing at sportsmarker.com. I have a really good article coming out tomorrow morning. Again, all your Chicago sports news, but I know the Bears season is ramping up. And of course, you can check out both Ficky and I's work and write articles over there. So stay tuned for tomorrow morning. That should be out. It's a good one. Now let's get on to the final 10 minutes of the show. We'll do about maybe 5-10 minutes on the Chicago Bears unofficial 2025 depth chart. I have some takeaways. Fick, if you want to bring it up, I'm going to share my screen here. If we can get this
I got you.
set up for me.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, whoops.
Perfect. Do I need to make that a little bit bigger? Can we see that?
Probably. You're probably going to need to make that a little bigger.
We'll start right here with the offense, and then we'll get to the defense. That should be good.
Yeah, that works.
We're going to start with the Bears offense here. Fick, if you don't mind, I'll start on this. I had some notes on it. There's not much. I think the Bears, honest to God, I don't think they tried with this thing. With the depth chart.
Can I say this first? Depth chart is unofficial and compiled by Bears communications.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like the head coaches put this together. It's
like, did they at least go speak to these guys? Like, did the communications team go?
Man.
Did they go and
you would think, right?
Like, hey, who are we penciling here? I'm very I'm very curious, but I'm going to treat it as it is, which is it's concrete. I'm just kidding, but seriously, I want to talk about it a little bit because I do find it, relatively interesting. Let me see here. So Braxton Jones, that was the first one that caught my eye. Like as far as looking, the first thing I did actually was look at the rookies. Which included Ozzie, but I wanted to see where they were at. And of course, Braxton Jones starting at left tackle doesn't surprise me. However, Ozzie Trapillo, I think, and Jeff said it earlier, he expects Ozzie to start week 1 or to be the starter. I'm kind of in that boat as well. I'm shocked Braxton Jones was actually the starter on this depth chart, especially with the reps that he got on Sunday, which was at the Family Fest. And of course, today they keep rotating, but I would say he's getting a majority of the reps on that Sunday. So I'm a little surprised there. Another thing was the rookies. Colston Loveland is a starter. They're doing 12 personnel as the package here, right? Is the Bears offense. I love that.
Yep.
That was yours. And then the Kyle Manung guy. That was another thing. I was looking at the rookies and I was looking for him and I was like, he's way down there. Is he fifth?
Six.
Am I reading it?
Well, I guess they're all in the same.
Yeah, it depends.
I don't know if
let's
it's
just say
order
fourth.
Going down. Yeah.
Fourth. Well, I would say it's going down. That's in my opinion. I think it'd go Ian Williams. So he's fifth. He's
5. Yeah, he's 5.
I just couldn't believe that. Again, this is where it's like, how much weight are we putting into this unofficial depth chart compiled by Bears Communications? That just pisses me off. Honest to God, I don't even want to see that. I don't think that this is the first year that I've seen that little excerpt or that language.
Oh, for the Bears Communication. I will say this though. I'm glad that Ben Johnson said in his press conference. I'm glad there's no ors. I hate when they do that, where it's like Braxton Jones or Ozzie Trapillo at 1. I'm like, well, what's the point of that? So
before they drop this, I was on ESPN because ESPN actually does a decent job of keeping that up to date. They have Ozzie, or they did at least this morning. They had Ozzie as the left guard, or I'm sorry, the left guard as the left tackle. They had Luther Burton, a starting wide receiver, or not a starter in the second, I think. Well, no, he was.
Yeah, he pulled like the second slot of wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Luther, that's another one. He's
technically
he has to do the reps. Yeah, he's got a. Zacchaeus.
Can I talk about that one though? Zacchaeus has looked, at least from reports in training camp, has looked pretty good. Hasn't messed up, and like when it comes to the mental aspect of it. And last year he had a pretty good year. That is a veteran. I think he's been in the league.
How many did he have? He did have 700 yards last year with the Washington
in that offense. So I'm not mad about that. Obviously, you want to see. The thing is with the wide receiver 3 and 4.
He had 506 yards, 3 touchdowns, 45 receptions in Washington.
Yeah, the thing is with that though, the wide receiver 3 and 4, those guys are like they're not on the field all the time. You know what I mean? Like it depends on the package and the formation. And also, if we're in 12 personnel, that's one less wide receiver on the field. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not too concerned about like if Luther is wide receiver 2 there, or if he's wide receiver 2 under the second wide receiver slot. Like I feel like Luther is going to be very packaged based, like formations and things like that. And he's going to get his reps. But at the end of the day, they're not that you're starting X and you're starting Y. Rome and DJ are going to be on the field every play unless they're out for like, catching, getting their win back. You know what I mean? Like for rest. So I'm not too concerned.
It's a good point about Z. We've heard he's been in multiple highlights. It's a testament to this Bears receiving room, and it's really, really good. Luther Burton, though, I think will be interesting as far as what, packages. Like, I think he's going to be a weapon. Obviously, Ben Johnson's going to utilize that, especially in the slot, too. So I think the Bears are just spoiled there. Other than that, Tyson Bagent, too, I think he has a real hold on that. I don't think there's any momentum for Case Keenum. I like Case. He's cool. He had an awesome sweater a couple weeks ago he was wearing.
Yeah.
But other than that,
the mentor role, I think that's the
veteran presence. He's really good for that room too. Yeah. And then anything else on the offense you wanted to touch on before we go to the defense?
No, we go to defense.
Also, Tyler Scott, that was the last thing. I thought he's pretty low, man. Oof.
I mean,
it's tough out here, man.
Not looking good.
No. I think the defense was interesting too. Tyreek Stevenson, Jaylon Johnson, Tyler Gordon, your DBs, Terrell Smith, Nashawn Wright. Nashawn?
Yeah, Nashawn.
I think I said that right. He's awesome. I am excited for him to be, second team?
Yeah.
I love that for him. I think I'm curious to see how much he plays in the preseason. Ruben Hippolyte, way back there. Zaw Frazier, he hasn't gotten the field. I don't know if he's returned. It was a personal matter, I thought, last time we heard. And I could be wrong. He may have been there today, but I have not heard anything. Anything else kind of?
Only thing that sticks out is who's going to be that linebacker 3. And Noah Sewell did not have a great season last year. But reports today. Reports that he's looking like the guy this year, right? So excited to see that, right? That's why we'll have to see how it plays out.
That linebacker is kind of thin. sometimes I feel like it's
TJ,
thin.
Tremaine, Noah. But you remember, think about this. I think, I talked about this
Kyler.
when we first signed Dennis Allen. I was like, Dennis Allen loves nickel and dime packages, 3 safeties sometimes. He doesn't put 3 linebackers on the field that much compared to Flus, who had 3 linebackers on the field, I'd say above the NFL average, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as concerned because most of the time it's going to be Tremaine and TJ out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Zach Pickens there, Austin Booker. I like the depth here. I wanted to go back real quick to the offense. Who was it? Ryan Bates, because they talked about that as well. I'm excited to see him. He was second team, but I think he's going to be a really awesome addition. Like, because he's going to be healthy, man. I think that's going to be an awesome, not sub, just depth piece for them. As far as the defense,
the offensive line.
Yeah. As far as the defense, Montez Sweat's playing great. I think it's just kick returner. Again, this is where I'm like, are you serious? Because they had Luther Burton taking some he was receiving some punts.
To be fair though, Duvernay was he's been a punt returner for most of his career. So, but you'd love to see someone like a Luther back there, but
you also don't want him getting hurt. He's very important.
But also Josh Blackwell, he's been on the team for a minute, and I don't think he's ever returned, has he?
I thought last year on that fake, he was back there.
Okay. No, you might be right.
I don't know.
I know we have not had
shame on the Bears though.
For years.
Shame on the Bears for doing this. It's like when you turn in a homework assignment half-ass or just not really trying, right? And you're like, I hope I pass. Like they passed, but they followed the instructions, but it's like there's no effort into this, and they're not really giving us much. But at the end of the day, it's
August, so I mean,
a month away from week 1. Who really cares? I do, but I enjoy looking at these things. I want to see what the team's going to look like. Of course, the position battles, but we're still not even in preseason game number 1. That's on Sunday before we get to some of these battles. But Vic, anything else on this?
I was gonna say, and to be fair, some of these battles aren't truly been like resolved, right? I truly think that left tackle 1 hasn't. So even if they had it as 1 and 2, like if Ozzie was 1 and Braxton was 2, I'm like, Ben Johnson literally came out and said, we're not done evaluating, right? We haven't even gone against other people. Exactly. So, yes, I agree. It's like a half-ass homework assignment that was turned in. You're like, it's a teacher. You're like, yo, what is this?
Yeah.
But it is better than nothing, I guess. So it gives us something to talk about. I'm just ready for preseason football in the joint practice just because it's us against something else. You get new situations, new matchups.
I'm excited about Fridays,
new storylines. Yes. Something there's just new stuff that can come out, not only from us and the storylines, but from these coaches. They're going to get so much evaluation and we're going to be able to assess so many situations. It's going to be amazing.
We're going to be able to talk with the Dolphins players and, hey, how did you view Caleb? And when it comes to Mitch and Justin, we got very honest takes from them. So I expect the same thing with Caleb and the Bears offense. So, and they need to, after today and all the fights that broke out, man. I mean, I like it. I wish there was a little bit more discipline, but if week 1 and they're getting flagged for, unnecessary roughness, unsportsmanlike conduct, we'll talk about it then. But I like the intensity. I love hearing it. So I think that's good. But if you can, we're 1 sub away from 8,740. If you can, and you're in here, I know there's a lot. Hit that sub button. We're about to get out of here. If you can hit that like button as well, we appreciate it. We're about 1 away from 40 as well. It's been a great offseason. I think we're almost there. First preseason game is on Sunday. I'm not sure if we're going to preview the game. I don't know. I don't know
what to preview quite yet.
You guys let us know in the comments if you want us to. I mean, we kind of just did all of this. We kind of are previewing this game all the way since camp started. So we may do it. Either way, we're going to have a reaction to the game, our biggest takeaways. And, of course, the season is right around the corner. So if you want to stick with us, we'll be going live 2 times a week like we did last year and the year before that. So appreciate the support. Vic, anything else before we kind of get out of here?
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to our OGs in here. We got Thomas Whitty with the hashtag OG. Shout out to you, Thomas. We got Big Mike 76 on YouTube with the hashtag OG. Go get Micah. And then we got Brian in here with the hashtag OG. So Love
Hey,
it. Appreciate all
love the
love
OGs.
support. Yes,
Love the
yeah.
super chats today too. Really appreciate it.
you.
That is not warranted. You do not have to do it, but we appreciate it. Vic, I think we're good. Anything
Football's
else?
back. Football's
Anything?
back.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys Sunday to recap preseason game number 1. Enjoy the rest of your week and bear down.
Peace.